Alright, so today we've got my son's 2011 Toyota Tacoma that the door is broke on. I don't know how good you can see that. So we're going to have to at the very minimum take the door panel off. I'm going to unbolt the door catch here. See how wide I can open the door. I don't know how wide I'm going to be able to open this. To see what I'm going to have to do. There's going to have to be some welding involved here, it looks like. But I may end up having to take the door completely off so I can get to it good enough to where I can get it welded up. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to unbolt this door. I can't remember what they call this. Door catch, door. I don't know what it is, but nonetheless, I'm going to unbolt it. 10mm bolt right there. We're going to see if the door will open up any wider so that I can kind of get a better look. And then we'll start taking the door panel off. So let me get my tool set up with a 10mm and let's see what we can do. Wow, about to lose that whole thing. Okay, very carefully. The one thing you don't want to do is open the door up so wide that you end up damaging something. So let's see here. I may not have to take this door off. Definitely going to have to take the door panel off so that I can get in there and get this piece clamped up good enough to where I can weld it. Okay, so let's start taking this door panel off. Let me get you set up so you can watch this. Looks like we've got a little retainer here, little cover here. Probably have to pop the switch assembly out here. We got a little deal right here. Doesn't seem to fit just perfect, so I don't know if this is factory or not. That piece snaps off. So let me get a little pry tool. It's a little screwdriver. I'll use my little trim tool. Best little tool for this type of stuff right here. Okay, looks like a Phillips there. And looks like a Phillips there. And just in case I've got to take the door off, I'm going to just crack the window, because what I'm going to do before I disconnect I'm just going to crack the window enough to where I can get a strap. I've got a cherry picker, and I'll strap it right around here.
Anybody to the gas chamber yet?
That way I can support the door whenever I unbolt it, if I end up having to take the door off. It actually looks like I might be able to get the welder in there. Okay. Screwdriver. Okay. Make sure there's not, sometimes there's screws on the bottom. I don't see any screws on this. There we go. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Forgot to unplug the connector for the windows. See a little tab right there? as easy as it gets. And there's the door panel. I always like to make sure it's got all the Christmas trees in it, and this one does, it looks like. Be careful with the plastic. You do want the plastic to go back together. I'm just going to pull this out. That's what we got. Just busted the sheet metal out. I don't know if that's a common problem. Look at that. I don't know what the deal is with that. Looks like I might be able to just put a piece of sheet metal behind it and weld it in. All right. Let me figure out what I'm going to do, then I'll come back. Okay, so here we go. I've got that all cleaned up, kind of ground out. Still got a crack down at the bottom, but I think it'll be all right. This is what the front face of it looks like. And here's the repair piece. It's going to go in there. It'll fit in there just like this. And then hopefully, with any luck, the little door piece here will bolt in and work as advertised. Now this around here is still kind of beat up, so as you probably noticed when this is in here, you know, there's a gap, but that thing has been pulled. This sheet metal here has been pulled this way. So what I might do, once I get this kind of welded in from the inside, is beat this part right here, kind of beat it back around to where it's more flush. But now it's time for the weld up. So let me, and as you can imagine, it's going to be tight getting in here to weld, so it's probably not going to be the prettiest weld. As long as it's effective, that's all I really care about. I do need to kind of figure out exactly where this needs to go. Anyway, once I get it tacked in here, I'll turn the camera back on and then we'll get after it. Okay, so I've got the piece tacked in there. Looks like it's lined up pretty close. I actually bolted this up to it, and I closed the door just enough to where I'd make sure that the part there lined up with the hole. And I don't know if you're going to be able to. So I've got the part tacked in there, so now it's just a matter of running a bead around as much of the bottom, sides, and top as I can. I don't know if I'll be able to get the camera in there to where you'd be able to see it, but I'm going to go ahead. I've got the welder. Oh, what I ended up doing here, I ground a little spot off with this reinforcement bar inside the door. And that's where I hooked my clamp. And got the torch, got my helmet, and my gloves. and we're going to get after this. I'll come back and show you the weld up after I'm done. And one other thing, now it probably wouldn't have caused any problem at all the way this is hooked up. You know, I've got this right here at the door structure, and then I'm welding on the door itself. Theoretically, there's no way that any kind of AC voltage is going to permeate through the truck itself and harm any of the modules. But as easy as it is, I went ahead and unplugged everything that was plugged in. So now the wiring harness here is actually isolated from this door electrically. So just to be on the safe side, I thought, why not? It looks like everything's going to be simple enough to plug in. Actually, there's a plug right there that I forgot. Now it's unplugged. So, I mean, everything from the speakers, power window motor, the door locks, everything. So, and that's just a safety precaution. I mean, if that would have been tough to get all those unplugged, I wouldn't have worried about it. You know, it's not an issue. So, as long as you know how to set your clamps up and your welder on a car, perfectly safe to weld on a car. Like I say, you've got any kind of current and AC voltage going from the structure right here straight to the door right here. I mean, there's no reason for it to go anywhere else. I hope that made sense. But anyway, now for the weld up. Okay, she's welded up. I ran out of argon halfway through it, so it's not the prettiest thing, but, and you can't obviously see in here, but hopefully that's going to hold good enough. And of course I couldn't get, I don't want to stick my hand in there too far, but I couldn't get, you know, right here, because of the way you can't see it and it's not angled. But that's why I put that bend in that part, because hopefully that'll make it rigid enough to where it'll hold. I put this little bolt in it so I could hold the part on there while I tacked it up. Anyway, I'm going to let it cool off. I'm going to get all this stuff plugged in, and we'll bolt the door piece. I need to look up and see what that's called. That's bothering me that I don't know what that part's called. If you know what this is called, put it in the description. Door hold open? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to kind of beat some of this stuff down around the repair part, some of the original door, and then take this bolt out and get everything plugged up. And then once it cools off enough, I'm going to put a good coat of paint on the inside and around here. Then we'll be done. Put everything back together. Okay, got the spots painted that were there. This right here, I'm not going to worry about painting blue. I mean, it's not really seen, even whenever the door's open. So I think we'll be good there. So now I'm just going to plug all the connectors in, kind of let that paint dry a little bit, and get this plastic kind of stuffed back where it needs to go. And then get this piece bolted in. Get the seal. The seal, just if you're real careful with it, you can pop this seal right out. It's just these little clips. Makes it real nice. It's not glued on. That's all there is to that. So, like I say, just out of prevention, I disconnected these connectors just to make sure that no stray AC high voltage from the welder was going to cause any problems. And it shouldn't have. The way this was all connected, it shouldn't have caused any problems anyway, but I just wanted to be on the safe side. Alright, I'm going to get this thing all buttoned up. Yeah, whenever, something else I forgot to mention. The channel, the window channel was bent pretty bad. I've got it straightened up about as straight as I could get it. But what was happening is, you see that carnage right there? Well, this bolt's in right here. And that, since that piece was all busted loose, it was catching on the window channel and bending it all to hell. So I bent it up pretty good. I'll put the seal in it and get this bolted back up. It's just 2 10mm nuts, and the window should go up and down a lot nicer. Anyway, we'll be back. Okay, got the door, we'll just call it the hold open rod, bolted in, and it is working perfect. Lubed up the window track, got the speaker plugged in, or not plugged in, but connected. So now it's just a matter of putting the door panel on and then being done with this. I'm not sure if this is slightly bent. You can kind of see back there on that back piece of metal where it's kind of bent. It does slightly rub on that, but I think it's going to be all right. Anyway, beats replacing the door. You know, other than welding it, I don't know what you would have been able to do about that, other than replace the entire door, because that's part of the door structure that was busted out of there. So hopefully this piece that I welded in will hang in there for a while and keep this thing going. Anyway, other than putting the door panel on, we're done. Just a kind of a, I don't know what you'd call this, a not very typical repair, you know, or something like that. But anyway, got the door panel back on, and now, so whenever you open the door, you got your nice first detent where it holds it open, then your second detent where it holds it open. Everything seems to work great. So anyway, she's done. You guys take care.